Okay.
Yes.
Told you.
I told you so. All right, let's go. Yeah. I can hear lefty. I can hear lefty. Stop that shit. Let's have a serious show here. First half is serious. Good morning and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I'm your certified host, Steve Lucky Luciano. If you like the Hard Luck Show, hit the like button and subscribe, you guys. You can always catch us on YouTube or hardluck.com, hardluckshow.com, Mondays and Thursdays. Sitting across from me is my co-host, my partner.
Is Chumahan Bowen, American Indian, elegant barbarian, Southern Californian, and well-paid lawyer man.
Well-paid. And the other well-paid guy right here.
Not so well-paid.
eyes.
Sean Lewis, certified audio professional engineer for the Hard Luck Show.
I had to let him say it.
I know.
Right. The not so well-paid producer, though.
Right.
My man. And we got Big Pick Mike, and we've got King Salmon in the house.
Angling.
Yeah, these guys are they're devoted.
Salmon came through
Salmon's been coming through.
last week.
Yep. Yes, he did. He made it happen.
Right.
Thank you, Salmon, again. Mike, and Mike's always there to back it up.
Die hard.
Yeah.
That's right.
You guys, listen, as people know, I'm a brand manager over at Cookies SF. I'm also a director of sales over at Vibes Drops and Vibes on the West Coast. And through my work, I've met a lot of cool people. I work with a lot of cool people. And man, maybe about 2 years ago or so, I was introduced to my friend and guest who's coming on this evening. He's awesome dude, bro. And since we've met and started working together, we've begun to work closely together on Vibes, even on some cookie stuff, helping us break brands out here in LA. He's been in the game for a while, knowledgeable dude, a real grind time guy. Let's welcome my buddy Jose to the show.
Jose!
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome Jose to the show.
Much appreciated, you guys. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, you were here last week. By the way, you guys, last week we were having some technical difficulties early on, right as we started up.
Right.
Good thing Salmon figured that out.
Yep.
So we got some shows up. But the first show up was Jose, and we couldn't get the cameras working for shit. And then I was like, please, man, I need you to come back on next week. And we got him here today. Right?
Thank you, man. It's definitely nice to be back. Definitely nice to be back.
Yeah, man, we got you over here, brother. I've been telling, I've talked to Chumahan a few times about you, just kind of going over, what we do together. As I said, Jose's kind of been in this game for a while. Jose, tell us a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you come from? How'd you pop up, and how'd you end up over here with us?
Man, so short story, I started off in San Fernando Valley, a city called Reseda.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Reseda in California, 818.
Yeah.
Yeah, from then on, started off at a Prop 215 store. As soon as it went legal, I became one of the first legalized bud tenders.
Where was that?
It's over at Westside Caregivers, over in Van Nuys. Yeah, we're basically pretty known for I want to say $15 eighths of shatter, $15 eighths of flour.
It's interesting. Let me just stop for a second. What's interesting, right, when you say that, first off, what year are you talking about?
Oh, I want to say maybe 2000. I mean, it went legal 2018, maybe 2016, 2017.
Because fucking, I know Burner's story starts kind of the same way. He was working for one of the medical, places, before it turned into recreation, right?
Correct.
So that's where you were at. What was the name of the place again?
Westside Caregivers.
Westside Caregivers.
Yeah, shout out to them. Sadly, I don't believe they made it into the legal side. They did have a whole collaboration with 2 Chainz. We had the gas company with 2 Chainz. And then from then on, leaving them, I ended up over in another store called RDC, now called The Syndicate. With them, I did more of a manufacturer distribution side on the back end. from then on, I popped over to a legal site called Project Cannabis, the weed. Yeah, so that was a very big staple shop over in the valley.
Is that right?
They were known to have the top flower, $60 eighths out the door, but it was like the prime flower.
Was it good?
Man, 2 bowls of that, you were done for. Yeah, nowadays you can kind of smoke a little bit more with the flowers. Everything's a little bit more tastier, fruitier. Back then it was just straight kick, just bam. The weed, the nose, everything on it was just insane. After that, I popped over to Hollywood. Man, that's actually where I really started doing a lot more networking, a lot more connections. It went from, the shop was called The Plug.
Is that right? The Plug.
That's a great
Plug.
name.
I like that.
Yeah, it was actually a couple friends over from UK came over here. They did a little pop-up. Man, it was honestly really nice. We had 50% off everything in the store. So our store was packed most of the time. So
you start really working the retail and of these dispensaries.
Yep, most of them tend to be retail. The only one that I had on the backside was more of like the syndicate. I was doing more of like, say, packaging flour, weighing out the flour, wrapping them up, getting labels and all that. So seeing more of like the actual, I want to say, the business side of it, rather than just retail, talking to people about buds, terpenes and all that. And then the crazy thing is, once I left The Plug, I actually started over at the Artistry, which was right across the street. They were actually one of our rivals.
The Artistry. I hear about the Artistry.
Yeah, they definitely popped up right around COVID. They have a whole conception of a dispensary, art gallery, as well as a lounge right on the second floor.
Consumption?
Yeah. So you're able to basically buy your flower, go right up top, and then you're able to smoke, you're able to vape, you're able to rent their products to smoke out of. Definitely a really cool vibe. Definitely cool vibe.
I've noticed that there seems to be in a lot of these places where they're selling the bud or the cannabis or whatever, that they're in conjunction trying to figure out a way to allow people to be on premises and consume it.
It's a big thing right now because, we were just talking about it the other day that it doesn't seem like anybody's really, really been able to figure out that consumption lounge yet. Because you've got people where, like, you can only do certain things. Like,
by law?
By law.
Right.
So, like, you can't really sell them anything in the consumption lounge. Like, they've had a hard time trying to monetize the square footage of a consumption lounge or that space. Does that make sense?
It makes
Into
total
the business.
sense. Right. Well, I think part of it is, right, it's it's the area. Like, where is it going to be at, right?
Correct. That's actually a number one thing. It has to be zone restricted and all. It has to actually pass certain actual, I want to say, requirements in order for it to qualify for it to be a cafe or lounge as well as a dispensary. The other one is also in West Hollywood. It's called The Woods. They also have something very similar as well. Yeah, but it's definitely very hard. I believe one of the first ones was Lowell Cafe, to have that whole hype. Oh, hey, it's a restaurant. You can smoke at, rent all the products. But they did have, I believe it was a herpes outbreak, which kind of shut them down a bit.
Damn.
Well, that'll do that.
Man,
That's not good.
Yeah, they apparently from Kosei's it was
Had a little herpes outbreak.
Put the
I ain't even heard anything like that in years.
Oh man,
Yeah,
it
guys
was,
came out of there with sores on their lips. It was
people
not good.
basically people weren't cleaning the products right, as articles were saying. So people were just, hey, let me smoke out of this. All right, cool, put it back. That's from what's said, but who knows, man? You could have caught herpes some other way.
I've heard people get herpes without weed involved.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is involved, but not like that.
See, I would say the crazy thing is, before all this legalization, there was an event called Secret Sesh. People used to do that all the time. Just, hey, you used to just get a little alcohol wipe, clean the top, and you're good to go. I never really heard anybody getting herpes at that, and I'm talking about these things. These events used to be packed.
Right.
Maybe about.
But they were cleaning products, though.
Give or take some of them. Some people are just lazy, like, screw it, let me just take a dab right after this person. Or let me smoke a bowl right after this person. Others were like, hey, hold up, let me clean this for you. Bam, you're good to go. The downside of that, though, was you did taste the alcohol right around your lips, but you knew it was clean. You know, it wasn't like, oh, hey, you know, let me rip it right after this dude. And I
Imagine
don't
trying
know
to
who this dude
explain
is.
that to your girlfriend.
Man.
You wake up with a big old lip, and she's like, "Where were you? I was
Like-
smoking weed.
Oh, man.
I swear."
What happened with the artistry?
Oh, man. So with the artistry, that's actually when my journey began with, like, I want to say with Green Lane, cookie/vibes. So from the artistry, I had a friend that was actually a manager over at the Higher Standard store over in Malibu, California. He reached out
Dope
to
store.
me.
Right in the Malibu Mart.
What was the
Malibu Mart.
design? What was the design like in terms of the store?
But I'm gonna be honest, the store was pretty small. It was a little bit wider than this, not necessarily longer per se. It was just a little bit wider. The only thing is, being that Green Lane was a very big distribution company, they were trying to showcase everything they had in the store. Sadly, it was a little too small, so it looked crowded at times.
Overcrowded.
Yeah, overcrowded. It had
Interesting.
beautiful products, though. Beautiful products. You had stuff from, man, I believe they sold a $6,000 iPhone. It was a collaboration with some artist. I mean, just to sell a $6,000 iPhone off the bat, that's insane.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
and they sold.
right.
They sold.
Well, they knew their clientele.
They did. They definitely did. We had a cool thing about them. We had home interior design artist Jonathan Adler pieces.
No
Very
shit.
cool, very modern stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, and they were doing all sorts of Keith Haring collaboration.
Oh,
Right.
ashtrays, and like, you're just dope, dude. If you were a smoker and you were walked into the store, you'd find something you want.
Man, it was definitely nice. It was definitely.
They had one they had one in New York too, in Chelsea.
correct. That
in
one,
the Chelsea market.
that one's actually the one that's still open. It is the mother one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it is beautiful there.
Yeah,
they
but a
host
lot
events.
happened with Green Lane, huh?
Yeah, a lot did happen with Green Lane. So, essentially, what happened? I joined the Higher Standard team under Green Lane. I eventually became manager of the store. From then on, being that I was manager, I was like, hey, how can I get more people to actually notice the store? Just because we weren't displayed as a smoke shop on the outside window. It was more like, oh, hey, this is cool interior pieces. Oh, hey, what's that wooden ashtray? And that was the Bob Marley ashtray. So we get people in just because it was a bit more of like, hey, what's that? Oh, hey, this looks cool. As soon as they walked in, it was two reactions. Either eyes lit, and they're like, oh, yeah, I want nothing to do with this. Or they're like, oh, hey, oh, I know what that is. Hey,
Right,
that's a
right,
bong.
right.
Oh, this is cool. And then,
Right,
and then
right.
we start off with the conversation. We start going somewhere, and then, bam, they end up buying 2-3 products and makes them happy. They're like, hey, I never knew you guys were here.
What does it take to manage a store like that, or just maybe generically speaking, right? But a marijuana or a cannabis store, one that's trying to serve a certain clientele. Like, what are some of the things you're looking at? How do you do that?
So with that, one is definitely your location. Wherever your location is depends on your clientele. So for example, in West Hollywood, it was a lot tourist. When I was running the artistry, it was a lot more of a, I would say, oh, hey, people like the fact that it's art. Hey, it's a very hipster vibe. It's very nice. You pop in, you see all the art. You're like, hey, oh, that's cool. All right, cool. Let me buy a joint just so I can smoke as I'm going to the hotel, to the bar.
Right.
In Malibu, though, it's quite different. You didn't really get, I want to say, hipster people. It was more vacation people. Like people that popped in, they were like, hey, I'm just trying to relax, enjoy. Obviously in Malibu, people have money.
Right.
But a lot of people also like to be discreet in Malibu, rather as over here in West Hollywood, they're like, hey,
On
I'm
blast.
Yeah.
smoking here down the street, man. I'm going,
Down at Hamburger Mary's.
and yeah, exactly right down the street from there. Right down the street from there. Over in Malibu, it's more like, hey, I wanna smoke. I just want to, vaporize. I don't want you to know I smoke. I don't want to smell it. Stuff like that.
Interesting.
So at that, crazy thing is, you would see people walking around with vaporizers all day, and I mean, I would know what that is, just because I work in the industry.
But other people wouldn't.
Other people would just be like, oh man, hey, they have a water bottle. For example, Puffco has this water bottle bong. It's basically a regular water bottle, but on top it has a bowl piece that you can actually add flour and use it as a bong.
Right.
So when I would see those, I'm like, hey, I have those. I'm selling those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, yo, I like your water bottle. And they'll just laugh at me.
Yeah.
But then other people are like, hey, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, that's because that's a bong. And I was like, look, I got something similar. And then I would show them the whole piece, the full getup. They're like, how do you guys have these things? I'm like, hey, people just like to be discreet sometimes. Huh?
Yeah.
You know?
I was talking with Enzo, and a friend of our son who's in the business, and he was telling me something about like I don't know how he broke it down, but he was talking about how like vapes and smell-proof bags and all these different things to conceal is a real big part of like the cannabis business.
That makes total sense to me.
It does to me as well. You know, people really, a lot of people don't want people knowing they're smoking. They want to keep, you know, or they travel or whatever. But there's a lot to like the, you know, smokeless ashtray, the smell-proof bags, the vape pens. Like there's a lot to be undercover with.
Right.
And it's a big part of that business is that type of technology and type stuff. Let me ask them, how old are you?
27.
So, coming from a brown background, family and that, how, like, because it seems like you've been in this for a while since you were young.
Man.
What's the background of like your family like? And like, are they in cannabis? Or are they like, oh man, what do you like? Give us a rundown, bro.
All right, so what happened was during my high school age, I actually got arrested for selling weed. It was about 14, 15 years old. It was apparently a random search. It was only 2 brown people. I mean, only 2 brown people, man. I'm talking about, we were in chemistry. The only 2 brown people you can think of, you're like, oh man, hey, let me choose you and you.
Oh, it's random, huh?
Yeah, it was random, man, apparently. And I was like,
random profiling.
Yep. And then, you know, the other dude happened to be my homie. As soon as they said that, bam, he left. And I was like, dang, yo. I was like, man. And then I had the cops right next to me, so I couldn't even leave. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, yo, you smell like weed. Come, let's walk over here. As soon as I'm walking to the dean's office, they're like, hey, you know what? You know, just tell us, like, where'd you get your weed from? Like, you know, this and that.
That's how they do.
And I was like, yo, I didn't get my weed from school. You know, I don't get my weed from school. I had 4 different 8s in my backpack. They took out the 4 8s on the table. They had a little photo shoot. They're like, man.
That's like the DEA, man. It's like the DEA.
It was like a big score for them. And I was like, dang, yo, that's crazy. And like the whole detention room smelled like weed. And everyone's just like, oh, like, dang, you got caught. And I was just like, shit. So then they come up to me and then they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to call your parents to come pick you up. If not, we're going to take you downtown. I was like, all right, cool. You know, like, shit, it is what it is.
Right.
They call my pops. Bam, no answer. They call my mom, no answer. They're like, all right, cool. You know what? We're going to try again in a couple minutes. They called my pops. He answered on the last ring. I was like, oh, shit. You know? They told him the story, and I can hear it over the phone. What?
Yeah, you can.
Wait. What did your dad do for a living? And what's his backstory?
Man, my dad's a landscaper. My parents are very old school, very, traditional Hispanic people. Very like, hey, they see weed as, man, we don't want you to do that at all.
Right.
It was a little different just because we do have weed and alcohol. You know, that does help out with like pains and aches and all that. But it's never like, oh, hey, go outside, go smoke, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that was never kind of approved.
They didn't break their back so you could get arrested at school with 4 8s.
Man, for selling weed, man.
Right.
Just to buy more weed.
Right.
Right.
So then as soon as he answers, all I hear is, what? Bam. And I knew, and they're like, all right, yeah, you know, he'll come pick me up. They waited about 45 minutes, close to an hour, and they're like, you know what? If your dad doesn't come, we're just going to let you go. Oh, I was so happy. School was about to be over. I remember it hitting 3. I was in like detention, whatever they call it, detention, little lockup with them for about 2 hours. Man, at 3:04, school was let out. My pops came in, knocking at like 3:01, yo. So then, not only did I actually get arrested with my pops, you know, tripping at school, I actually had to walk out with my pops and the cops, yo.
No.
So it was like a whole thing, yo. And not only like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it was like half the school that just saw me walking with the 2 cops next to me and my pops, you know, going through the front.
Biggest thing that ever happened at high school for a long time.
Man, yo, and like you know how you get silent treatment from people?
Yeah.
Like, hey, yo, like, my pops was always like, with the force and all that, but this time, like, he hit me with the silent treatment. He was just disappointed. I was just like,
you knew something.
Like, I knew I completely fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, yo, like, I got busted.
Yeah.
So from then on, my cousins were going to school at the same time. So, word got around that I got arrested for school, and I wasn't at school for about 3 days. So then the family finds out that I got arrested. As soon as that happens, I became the black sheep.
Right.
Oh, hey, every time I'm not at a family function, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, he's over there smoking weed. He's over there doing this. Hey, he's doing drugs.
He's into the drugs, that guy.
Bro.
He's into the reefer, that one.
If there's anything the families love, it's one guy that really fucked up, so they can talk all day about it.
Man, all of it, yo.
I told his mom he should. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, oh, everyone becomes a whole,
Yeah,
like a
counselor,
teacher to
drug
everybody.
counselor.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you should have done this. You should have done that. And I was like, shit, man. I'm like, 9 times out of 10, I was probably smoking with my homies, but yeah, every time I wasn't there, oh, where's your son at? Oh, he's smoking, huh? So
right.
So because of that,
Marihuano.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, from then on, they were very hard-headed, very like, oh, we're not gonna, have you smoking weed. They were trying to give me the whole boot camp situation.
Yeah.
Well, then, I want to say around maybe 2014, actually about 2015, 2016, my grandfather actually, he actually passed away through cancer.
Okay.
He had colon cancer. And the thing is, right before he actually passed away, I gave him a little bit of something called Rick Simpson oil, RSO, or full spectrum oil as they call it now. It's basically a syringe with black matter, which you get from cooking weed with alcohol. And essentially what it is, you're extracting everything that the weed has. So you're pulling every single cannabinoid, every single terpene. You cook out all the alcohol. You don't overcook it so you don't overburn the terpenes and all that. And then you
just enough to cook the alcohol out.
Yeah. Just enough you can get the alcohol taste out. Then you actually eat it. You put the size of a grain of rice either onto some bread, onto some food, or you can just put it directly onto your under your tongue. What it does, it actually helps kill cancerous cells. The only thing is, being that it's not FDA approved, you can not say it's like a cure.
Right, of course.
But, there are tests that shows that marijuana has helped people, through cancerous phases and all. But once I actually gave him this piece in a sandwich, he used to walk around every day, smoke a cigarette. He went from doing that every single day to actually having to use a walker. So I was like, oh, man, like he doesn't have the energy, After this sandwich, the following day, 7 a.m, you hear someone cleaning the truck. So my job for my dad was I had to wake up in the morning, clean his truck so he can get his tools, everything to be ready.
Every morning?
Every morning. And then my grandpa actually beat me to it. And I was like, what's that? Yo, I go outside, no shirt, just shorts. And I'm like, I see him right on top, cleaning, brooming. And I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? What are you doing? Oh, I'm cleaning your dad's truck. He's about to leave to work. And I'm like, and your leg, what's going on? He's like, nothing. I feel good. So ever since then, I kind of knew that me and weed had something to do together.
Wait a second. Did the people in your family know that you had tried this treatment?
So I had 2 people that knew. Everybody else was like, oh, hey, don't tell so-and-so, don't tell so-and-so, because, all right, I believe I have about 12 uncles, give or take. So my family's pretty big. Everyone is against weed. No one, they would rather have you, enjoy beer, all the other stuff before they have you enjoy weed. So with them, that was the extent. They're like, no, we're not going to have that. We're not going to give them that,
Right. They were trying to protect them.
Yeah. The only thing is being that, as time goes on, you eventually find out new things.
And plus, when your grandfather's in a situation like that, it's like you got to try everything.
At that point, people were like, oh, hey, you should try this kind of medicine. We get recipes from, Mexico. Oh, hey, try this, mix this and that. Hey, do that. Oh, everything, man. And then once I gave him that actual little piece of grain of rice of RSO, the following day it changed. Like, I saw the whole thing work, and I knew from then on, I was like, hey, yo, this is actually something,
Yeah, because he has that. I mean, you've talked about that before. Like, you really believe in the plant.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Being that I work, as a bud tender, we can get people high. Don't get me wrong, up to like 45% THC. Get high as you want. The only thing is, weed is actually a medicinal plant that helps people for pain.
Right.
So it's not like, all right, cool, let me just get high just to get high. Like, people actually use it to get off of opiates, to get off of, benzos and stuff like that.
Right.
And at that point, it's a lot safer than all these other pills that kill your liver, your kidney.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Chuma.
Oh, I was kind of wanting to follow up further about your grandfather. So you gave him the grain. A couple people knew there was an improvement. And did your grandpa know?
So I never actually told him.
Because he probably would have been against it or something.
I mean, well, check this out. So as soon as I actually became the black sheep of the family, we had my grandparents staying with us. And at that time, my grandma was always like, hey, you shouldn't be smoking. You shouldn't be doing this and that. My grandfather was more like, hey, you know what? Like, he's at an age where he knows what he's doing. If he wants to do that, like, let him do that. Just because when we gone to Mexico the previous times, we could just get drunk.
Right.
I mean, over there, there's technically no age limit to drink. You can be 8 years old, go get a beer.
Right.
The thing is, they don't know whether it's for you or for your uncle or for your dad or somebody else. So you can just go on and enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so did you give him any more after that?
So after that, I never actually followed up with more treatment. It was just more like, I probably did it like 2 more times after that, but it was already too far in.
Yeah.
And at that point, it kind of did feel bad being like the whole black sheep where everybody's like, hey, yo, don't give him that. Don't try to help him out. But once you know that you see these things actually work,
yeah,
you're like, hey, I kind of want to help out. But being that the whole, I want to say, the greater of the family was like, hey, yo, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to deal with that,
What do they say now that everyone's accepted that that marijuana is a medicinal plant, and it is, and doctors are saying, yeah, you can use it for people who are suffering with cancer?
Well, now the tables have turned.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, hey, I have pains. Oh, go back in. Hey, I have this. Hey,
all
go
of a sudden,
back.
every once in
All of a
eight.
sudden, he's a doctor.
Hey, bring your mom home to a dime bag. Your uncle wants an eighth. I need a 20.
Man,
He's the black sheep because he's so goddamn smart.
Yeah.
It blows my mind just because now that they see that I made a whole, I want to say, almost career out of this, out of weed itself.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, yo, we didn't think you were going to make it. You were just going like into like drugs. You were going into this.
They thought you were going that route. That ain't what you're about.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the same time, yeah, like I said, I love to get high. I like taking dabs. I like, the hash. I love full 9 yards. But at the end of the day, I personally have a compressed disc between my L1 and my L2, so I have sciatic pain.
How'd you get that?
So when I was younger, before I started in the weed industry, I actually used to do hardwood floors. So I used to actually install hardwood floor. We used to do, 2 or 3 stories. We used to do stairs. We used to do crown moldings.
No joke, dude. That's a hell of a job.
Oh man, the thing is, I love the fact that you can see progression.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So you can see this room, and you're like, oh, you know what? We're gonna take out the carpets. We're gonna do this, and that. By the end of the day, this room would be done.
And you get to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, cool, I did that.
Right.
And then once you see the value of these houses, you're like, that's a $5 million house. You're like, dang, I added value to that.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, my uncle was very well connected with contractors.
Yeah.
So we would do houses, Beverly Hills, Porter Ranch, Hollywood Hills.
Ever work with a guy named Zerga?
No.
Okay.
Wrong.
Yeah, and then so with that, I was pretty young, and I was like, you know what? If I see these older people actually pick up 2-3 gallons, I can do 2 boxes of wood right here,
right,
bucket
of course.
of gallon, and you see all these people do that. So at that point, I was like, oh, I can do this as well. I heard a pop one day, and then no actual pain though. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? My legs felt a little weird. I felt like I had to keep moving, like kind of just stretching my leg. So I ended up going to the hospital. I was like, hey, you know what? Let me just go get this checked out real quick. He told me it was a torn meniscus. So they're like, oh, hey, you basically messed up your knee. You got to let it relax, heal up. Then I ended up going to a chiropractor, and he did, I want to say, I believe it was an MRI. He did that full piece where you lay down on the bed, did
and
the
you
whole
go
scan.
inside the thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like in the oven or something.
Yeah, like a little tunnel type of thing.
Yeah, that's MRI.
Come on.
Yeah, and then, so then he tells me, he's like, hey, man, you have a compressed disc, man. I was like, yo,
And
what
a
is that?
torn.
And a torn meniscus.
Oh,
How old were you?
I was about 19.
God damn.
Yeah, man. And then from then on, I ended up going back to the hospital. I'm like, hey, yo, why'd you guys tell me I just had a torn meniscus, yo? Like, I messed up my back. They're like, oh, well, that's actually all we found in the x-rays. I was like, well, homeboy took an MRI, and he says I have, to check out my L1 and my L2. Nonetheless, bam, they confirmed that I did have a pinched nerve.
God damn.
Yeah, so basically every now and then I got to move. I got to, stretch. And that's actually where the weed comes in.
Yeah.
So, like, they gave me, all these narcos, all these pain pills, all this stuff to kind of get the pain away.
Right.
And at first, when you hear that, you're like, man, yo, like, dang, I really messed up pretty bad. The only solution, according to them, was to get a surgery which required putting a bolt in between my L1 and my L2 and then having another bolt right here so that way they don't compress my disc. The only thing with that, normally it's given to much older people, and then once you do that, you put a lot of pressure on that point. So if you do something quick, something, you bend quick, you kind of, try to crack your back certain way or something, you're adding more pressure to that. So if you happen to put enough pressure, it can crack.
Dude, as you're talking, old Blue Eyes is like, his back is starting to kill him.
Oh, man.
You're like, he was fine before you started talking, but you were like, and then my back, and then you put a bolt, and he started bending over, and he's like, oh.
Man, yo, yeah, no. When I heard that, I was like, yo, what do you mean that's the only solution, man? I'm like, what? Man, I was like, man, I really went from being the black sheep to trying to go from construction worker and progress to, messing up my back. Mm-hmm. So after that, I started doing, going to a chiropractor a lot more. I tried doing yoga, but honestly, the chiropractor was a lot easier. All you had to do was just lay down, yo. You
right. You have to put that mat out,
man.
Downward dog.
Yeah, well, actually, all you do at the chiropractor, all I did was just lay down on a warm bed, and this warm bed basically shot out little, I want to say like little rays of warm beams that go to your body, and it's supposed to actually relax your muscles.
Right.
You stay there for about 15 minutes. And then they hit another button, and then it gives you like a 10-minute massage. And after that, that's when they crack your back. They do all that, but it's because it loosens you up.
Right.
Is that right?
And I was like, yo, this is straight, man. Like, I'm
and
down for this.
did it help?
Oh yeah, it would help. Yeah, the only thing is, it essentially became more of a, I want to say maybe like a placebo thing.
Sure.
Just because, essentially, I started, doing a little bit more stretching at home. I started kind of eating a little bit better, and then in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't need to go to a chiropractor. I can do the same thing. I can do this. Except that when you would go to the chiropractor, there's times that you would hear, your back crack, but you wouldn't feel like your back was cracked,
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, oh, okay, like I heard it, but I don't feel like, loosened up,
So eventually you just said, yeah.
So eventually I kind of just stopped going.
Can I ask you a question? You can tell me. Because I live in Atlanta, family, so sometimes when I do some medical stuff, right, and I tell them what I'm doing, they don't take it serious. Like, they start clowning me. Did you get clowned for going to chiropractor or any of these things?
Well, originally they told me that I have to stick with Western medicine. So it's like, hey, yo, just take these pills, just go with the surgery. When you do bring up some sort of, like, Eastern medicine, like, herbs and stuff like that, they do kind of, I want to say, not necessarily make fun of, but they do kind of clown on it a bit, just because they're like, oh, that's not gonna say we have tests and studies and this and that. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can fabricate those all you want. Yeah, the crazy thing is, I met some lady at the Higher Standards in Malibu. Yeah. She was actually a very big cookies fan. Very big cookie fan. She'll come in, she's like, oh, let me get that, let me get the trays, let me get water bottles. Every single cookie product she would have. Every vaporizing product she would buy from us. She was actually, she used to do Chinese medicine. And the crazy thing is, I told her about my whole sciatic problem.
Yeah.
She bought this roller from us. It was this long, raw roller that was about maybe 24 inches long. What she would do, she'll roll up joints, but with herbs. Not to smoke, but to actually burn and kind of whisper around the area with that you have pain in.
Really?
You do it at a certain time, at a certain place, like with a lot of sun, and apparently that helps out.
For a back thing?
Well, for any kind of pain. Like different herbs for different kind of ailments, joints and stuff like that.
All right.
And I was like, hey, yo, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, like I've been doing this for years. Basically, I get all these herbs that help out with your energy, your, what is it, chi?
Yeah.
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 And she'll tell you what time to burn it at and to get the most sun as possible. So say for example, my back was hurting. She said I would get this joint with a mixture of flowers. Basically, put this joint right on my back and then kind of wisp it.
Yeah,
circles.
around like in a circle.
And then do that for about 2 minutes.
And you do
At a
this?
certain time.
I did that once, but like I said, at that point I was like, it's a little weird and all that. But
Did
then
it work?
again, I mean, I can't say yes or no.
Why? What do you
Just
mean? Yes
because,
or no?
I want to say maybe it did work because in my head I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, being that I'm that I have this pain, I want anything to help me out.
Sure.
But at that point, I couldn't really say like, oh yeah, you know what? Like it really went away, or it was just me thinking like, hey, I'm very positive this thing's gonna help me out because like it's
No.
Eastern medicine.
But whether you thought it or whether it did the pain go away?
What's up? So with sciatic pain, you don't necessarily get pain like throbbing pain.
Right.
It's more of like, oh, you just got to move your leg a bit. You just got to like stretch.
Yeah.
So, so it's
bend
not like
over.
something
the
like
chair.
that. Yeah, so it's not like, oh, bam, you have a constant pain. It's just more like, oh, let me stretch this out a little, like that, like just want to kind of pull your leg a bit more.
Yeah.
But ever since I did that once. And she's like, hey, how'd you like it? You know, like, I'll only charge you $250 for next time. I was like, yeah,
I'll just trade you with his Bob Marley ass shirt.
Right? No, the cool thing about her is that she also used to do fashion. She used to work with, I believe she said Prada.
Okay.
Yeah, she used to work with Prada. And she also, even though she had money, she used to love to come to haggle with me. Like, I'm like, hey, I can do like 10% here. Hey, for me, can you hook me up? Can you hook me up? Hey, yo, $5 off. $5 off. I'm like, hey, yo, you know what? I like you as a cousin. Come back. I'll hook you up.
Everybody likes a deal.
You know?
What I got a question for you. Like, where do you see? Tell me kind of. I want to get on what's trending, but I also want you to tell me where do you see this cannabis business going? Where are things going, bro?
Yeah.
You're in the game.
Yes.
Well, at the moment, hopefully everything becomes legal, you know, in all states, just because you have this whole thing where it's like hemp flower, Delta 8, you know, Delta 9. It's illegal in some states. You have weed legal in some. It's weird that you can get arrested for a joint in one place and go through all this, you know, time and all that. You come over here, they won't even bat an eye. So hopefully,
What states are they arresting people for weed in?
I mean, I believe there's 6 different states still that still get you for with no
Medical card?
yeah, no medical card, no recreational use, nothing. Yeah, no, there's definitely those states out there. I believe Texas actually.
Zero tolerance.
Well, actually, I believe you're able to have a doctor's rec there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there's only like maybe I want to say like 5 dispensaries in all of Texas. Yeah, it's not like out here. You can see 5 on one street, you know? But with that, I mean, cannabis industry, man, honestly, it's in shambles, man. It's in...
But do you think that's by design, though, so that it can break apart some of the people that got a toehold and then allow maybe these corporations or maybe wealthier people to come in and pick up the pieces?
I want to say so, just because as soon as it went legal, I mean, you're charging 34.5% in tax. I mean, that's just number one. How are you going to charge almost 4 times the amount of tax to buy a joint than to buy beer? At that point, I'd rather buy beer myself.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It doesn't make sense at that. And then it's not like that's going towards the state as if it was in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Like over there, yeah, taxes help out for the state. It all gets, streets rebuilt. Over here, yeah, I don't think that 34.5% is going to the state.
Where's it going?
Man.
Maybe where they put the California lottery
They
money?
probably said that if we legalize weed, it's going to benefit the schools too.
I saw a commercial. It had a busted up desk.
Yeah, man. It's see with that, I feel like California itself is definitely behind on like its laws or restrictions for weed. Whereas, I mean, you go to any other state, they're a lot cheaper. a lot
Right,
cheaper.
but the Fed is too, right? Like the Fed is also behind on the marijuana legalization.
So federally, weed is still illegal.
Right.
So it's a state by state control.
Right.
So each state technically is able to control how much they want to tax, what the legalities are for their state.
Right.
Where once you cross weed into another state,
It's a Fed
technically
matter.
it's a Fed matter. But being that, for example, you go from here to Vegas, I mean, people do it all the time. as long as,
Technically,
you
it
know.
is crossing state. I mean, I'm sure they know that, but like you were saying, if they legalize it at the Fed level, they do like what they did with gas and oil or cigarettes, tobacco, whatever. They would collect some of those taxes.
Yeah, most definitely.
The other part that's interesting, what's your understanding of how it works on Indian reservations?
Oh, that actually, I have no clue. Yeah, I have no clue on that.
Because a lot of people that I've worked with, so technically, the federal government has said the Indian tribes individually can decide for themselves based on what the state allows, what they're going to do. And each tribe's different, right? So even in the state of California, you have some Indian tribes that say, hey, yeah, we're going to legalize it here to do whatever. And then you have some that have big casinos and they don't want any cannabis interfering with any casino stuff, anything getting locked up that way.
Yeah.
But then what happens if on an Indian tribe where it's legal, it gets loaded up in California and then shipped to an Indian reservation in a state where it's not legal?
It was illegal now.
The state can't say anything about it.
Well, check
There's
this
a lot
out.
of people that are doing that for whatever gray market things people might be doing.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say
That
that.
makes
So a lot of the stuff on, say for example, the marijuana industry is tagged by metric.
Right.
So it tends to be a little harder to do that. I'm not saying there aren't ways to do that.
Oh, it's
But-
hard to do, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's technical. They got a camera. Although I gotta say, just me, I'm not talking about anybody you guys know. I don't know anybody you guys know, but I'm telling me, I've got a couple of clients where, because there's a camera that's at the back that shoots when the stuff comes and goes out, right? And there's stuff that's logged in, and you got to be tagged to be logging it in. But it also did seem to me while it was being explained to me, and I'm devious. That's just me. But I was like, it did see some ways where you could carry stuff in and out to make it look like that was about the same. What you wrote down on your little logbook was what that camera saw.
Correct. So with that, essentially it goes up to the store on where they have their security cameras. Most of them do have them where they get their delivery spot.
Right.
Just in case, say for example, someone gets robbed,
Right.
some situation happens, they're able to go back and watch the footage. Well, what's also the interesting about that, say for example, you purchase product from a company. Most people will just ship out like, all right, cool, we have 100 eighths that we need to sell out. You go and place an order for those 100 eighths. After that, they'll give you those 100 eighths without checking packaging date.
Right.
So once you get onto that, so a lot of people started, hey, yo, you know what? Let me actually look at the product I'm buying before I'm actually just signing off the delivery driver.
Right.
So you do have the ability to kind of, hide that fact and through a loophole or another. But a lot of shops are definitely trying to go the legal way just because no one knows how the audits will hit.
Right.
So that's actually another thing. Some people are taking that risk on, kind of masking.
But in all fairness, even quote unquote legal businesses, right, that you would think of, like let's say like retail, normal retail, just fucking groceries, right? There's always a piece of that that's a little bit under the radar. Well, it's not exactly what that is, or this fell off back here, or we don't know where that went, or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair just because it's cannabis to say, well, there's going to be some chicanery. I would say that's part of business. Every legit business, you got these banks, you got everything else. There's all kinds of chicanery going on there as well.
Yeah, that is a point on that. And being that you said it was on a federal term as well, I believe that does have a whole hold on the weed itself. So it's like I feel like they're regulating weed so hard because it's still not federally legal.
Right.
So I feel like it does have that extra push, like, hey, yo, we're gonna do what we want. You want to abide by our rules, you're gonna kind of have to pay. And yeah,
It's kind of odd though. What do you both think? Because I feel like it seems like it's such a no-brainer that this would be a great revenue source for everybody. And it seems like people have thought that for a very long time. Why is it still so like compartmentalized, overly complex, overly regulated in one way, and then why not just embrace it and be like, sure, it's just like beer. What's the problem?
I really think that all this stronghold and all this bullshit is set up to get rid of all the guys that have been in it and got a lock on it. I think it's for like political and these guys, like the government wants to control that shit. They want their hand in that shit like alcohol.
Right.
Yep.
And they see the success of it is probably, I don't know if it would be comparable to alcohol, because when alcohol came out, everybody was drinking alcohol like it. But they're saying 64% of Americans smoke cannabis.
Yeah.
So if you just thought about just from Colorado going legal in these states, and over the last like 5-8 years, the government's looking at like, dude, everybody's smoking. Like, this is huge.
Right.
And I think they're twisting it all up into all these dudes that are deep in it are just like flushed out. They just can't do business. There's just no way. They're making it so difficult. They flush people out, and the last one's in, or these big companies come in and scoop it up. To R.J. Reynolds and who knows.
Right.
But I do talk with people, and I do feel like eventually, fucking cannabis. I feel like eventually cannabis will be in stores just like cigarettes.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, I don't know how long it'll take to get there, and it'll be fully taxed, just like alcohol and tobacco.
Right.
And the biggest producers will probably be conglomerate, big companies. It will become industrialized again.
Right.
Yeah, no, definitely on point. Definitely on point. I mean, for the most part, nowadays, you do need investors. You do need some money behind you to keep the stores afloat. Just because you do have, say, hundreds, if not thousands of dispensaries here in California alone, you're basically rivaling every single dispensary as another dispensary. And what changes you from being another dispensary is, one, customer service. That's a big thing. When I was over at the artistry, we did have a little bit lower of a tax break than LA, being that it was West Hollywood. Not by much, it was just a couple percent, but we were still a tad bit lower. The thing that stepped us aside was, say for example, you bought a vape cartridge. That vape cartridge got clogged or something. Normally, most shops wouldn't take them back. Well, what we ended up doing, I would love to hit up the companies, say for example, Cookies. I'd be like, hey, yo, this one got clogged. All right, cool. Cookies would reply, hey, you know what? Hook them up with this. Cool. Bam. We get hooked them up. The person then is now happy. They come back just because they're like, hey, yo, you know what? They didn't just, toss me aside. Hey, buy another one. Sure. We showed them a little bit of love. They come back, and we built so much rapport with a lot of people because of that. And I became a very customer service person there at the artistry. Say, for example, any of my bud tenders had any problem selling weed. If it required more than just like, hey, yo, what are you looking for today? How can I help you? If it surpassed that, whether like, hey, I have certain pain, I'm looking for certain kind of flower, anything that surpassed the common bud tender knowledge. Yep. Yeah. I would tell them, hey, come get me right away.
Yeah.
One, because at that point, once they become a little bit more of like, hey, I want to know a little bit more on flower, a lot of shops just hire people as, oh, hey, you're looking for a job? Here, you're hired. And like I said, weed itself is an actual medicine. So if you come to me and tell me, hey, I have pain, I have this and that, and you give me a sativa, 9 times out of 10, it's not really going to be what I'm looking for. It might help me out for a bit, but then you're going to feel a little bit too, some people might feel a little too anxious, a little too jittery, too much in your head. Personally, I'm more of like a indica person, more of a relaxation, just kind of OGs, relax a bit. But then again, like I said, if you were to give me a sativa when I asked you for some pain, oh, hey, this smells really good. It's 34% THC. Try this. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help me out. So if you come back and I actually give you some flower that helps you out or give you a product that helps you out, you're going to come back and tell me, hey, you know what? I either like this or I didn't. And if I did, I'm going to keep coming back because you know what you're talking about.
We're gonna listen, man. I want to get. Well, we don't have a lot more time right now on it, but I wanted to. We're gonna have you come back in and talk about some trend stuff. What's trending? What's hot? Which we'll get into. Listen, if you're out there and you're in this space right now, and you're trying to find, you want to fuck with us, you need to holler at Jose. You need to holler at Jose. You might need to holler at Jose to come and consult for you. Give you some real game. Jose, where can people find you on Instagram?
Man, it's him, Jose, ITSHIMJOSEEE.
And you heard it, man. You need to follow him. He's always popping up at all our events. He's always helping us with vibes, cookies, the whole thing. Jose, man, I need you to come in more often. Tap in with us on the cannabis thing.
Man,
the next time you come on, I want you to talk about all the trends of what's happening.
Of course,
what to
man.
do. Let some of our listeners know where they need to go and what they need. Tell us about this weekend. Do you have something going on this weekend?
Oh, man. So this weekend we do have Liddy in the City popping up tomorrow, Saturday, May 20th, over at the Vortex. One of the top events going on this year. Must go to show. Go to. Man, Vibes won't be having a table there, but you'll definitely see me there handing out papers, showing love to everybody. So if you see me, pop up. I'll hook you up with some papers. Show some love.
Tell Jose, you tell him Hard Luck Show, and he'll hook you up some papers.
Right.
Just mention Hard Luck Show.
Mention Hard Luck Show, Lucky, Schumacher, the whole crowd. Come on. Hey,
Yeah.
and everybody, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, good enough.
Yeah.
You guys, Jose from Vibes, catch him running around. Go follow him. And like I said, if you need some help,
Follow him. Don't stalk him.
don't stalk him.
Oh,
Just
yeah, that
follow
too,
him,
that
right?
too, that
Don't
too.
stalk my man, all right?
Yeah.
Jesus
And
Christ.
if you want some game, he's in the camp. He's got the answers. All right?
Camp. Shit, the guy's the fucking leader.
Man, hey, let's go. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the love, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, vibes.com. Vibes Rolling Papers at Cookies SF. Follow us, man. All right? Go to Zoomies. Go buy a Vibes t-shirt at your local Zoomies, all right?
just dropped.
Just dropped. It's hot. And listen to us on Mondays and Thursdays. What you got, Chuman?
I got Ovando Bowen LLP. We wear braids to court. Let the tomahawks fly. The best legal representation that money can buy.
Yeah. What you got, Sean?
Hello. Sean at movemental.media. Hello. For all your audio and podcast needs. And don't forget to hit us up at hardluckshow.com.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
How about King Salmon? Big Mike. Get in there.
Right. Well, you got some cornhole bag needs. You can go over to dragonbags.com, DRAGGINBAGZ.com for all your cornhole bag needs, and find me on Instagram at Beyond Dragon.
Hello. All right.
Hello.
You got anything else, Chuman?
No, I got nothing. No, Big Mike's coming.
Hello.
Yo, Big Mike. Got Mike Angelo Photography. If you need portraits, events, just hit me up on IG. I got you.
All right. All right. There you go. Like we do about this time, it's adios amigos from a Hard Luck Show. Follow It's Me Jose. All right?
It's
Vibes.
him, Jose. Let's
It's
go.
him, Jose.
Let's go.
Vibes.
Let's go, people.
I think I'll just slide in the gas station and get a thing of Skittles. What you got to say? Hey, I said, where you from? Wow.
Okay.
Yes.